They hated your speech, didn't they?
We're afraid we won't have the guts to back it up.
Air Force One, clear for takeoff. Thank you for your hospitality, Moscow.
The president's plane, Air Force One, has been hijacked.
Air Force One stands as a defining action thriller of the late 1990s, built around a high-concept premise that merges political authority with raw physical heroism. The film presents a world in which the symbolic power of the United States presidency is tested not in speeches or negotiations, but in a confined, airborne battleground where every decision carries immediate consequences. At its core, the story asks what leadership looks like when institutions fail, protocols collapse, and the only remaining line of defense is the resolve of a single individual under extreme pressure. The narrative opens in the aftermath of a decisive American operation against Russian neo-nationalist extremists, establishing a global climate shaped by post-Cold War uncertainty and fragile geopolitical balance. The President of the United States is portrayed as a leader who believes firmly in principle over compromise, publicly declaring that his administration will not negotiate with terrorists under any circumstances. This stance, while morally uncompromising, quietly sets the stage for the central conflict by daring America's enemies to test whether those words will hold when personal stakes are introduced. What elevates the film beyond a conventional hijacking thriller is its choice of setting. Air Force One is not simply a plane, it is depicted as a flying fortress, a symbol of national security and technological dominance. By turning this most secure aircraft in the world into a hostage environment, the film strips away the illusion of absolute safety and reinforces the idea that no system, however advanced, is immune to human vulnerability and betrayal. The confined space intensifies the tension, forcing confrontations to unfold face-to-face, corridor by corridor, with no possibility of escape. Harrison Ford's portrayal of the president anchors the film with a rare blend of authority and physical credibility. This is not a distant figure issuing orders from a secure room, but a former soldier who understands combat, sacrifice, and responsibility at a deeply personal level. His performance deliberately blurs the line between commander-in-chief and action hero, presenting a leader who refuses to be evacuated to safety while others are left behind. The character's defining trait is not brute strength alone, but an unwavering sense of duty that places the lives of others above political calculation. Opposite him, Gary Oldman delivers a chilling performance as the antagonist, a charismatic and volatile extremist driven by nationalist ideology and personal vengeance. His character embodies chaos wrapped in intelligence, capable of moments of brutal violence and calculated restraint. Rather than a one-dimensional villain, he is portrayed as a man who understands symbolism as well as strategy, choosing Air Force One precisely because of what it represents to the world. His presence introduces psychological warfare into the physical standoff, forcing the president to confront not only armed threats, but moral dilemmas broadcast on a global stage. The plot unfolds with relentless momentum as the hijacking occurs mid-flight, transforming a routine diplomatic return into a crisis watched by military commanders, intelligence agencies, and political leaders around the world. Communication becomes fragmented, authority is contested, and every decision risks escalating into international catastrophe. The terrorists' demands are simple on the surface, yet devastating in implication, requiring the release of a detained leader whose freedom could destabilize entire regions and embolden extremist movements globally. As the situation deteriorates, the film shifts into a tense game of survival and deception. The president is believed to have escaped, only for it to be revealed that he remains hidden aboard the aircraft, navigating service tunnels and cargo compartments, while attempting to protect his family and crew. This cat and mouse structure sustains suspense by constantly narrowing the margin for error. Each confrontation is small in scale, yet enormous in consequence, reinforcing the idea that heroism often operates in isolation, unseen, and unsupported. The emotional weight of the story is amplified through the presence of the president's wife and daughter, who are directly threatened by the hijackers. Their inclusion transforms the conflict from an abstract national crisis into a deeply personal ordeal. The president's public refusal to negotiate is tested against the private terror of losing his family, forcing him into a dilemma where leadership and fatherhood collide. The film does not treat this conflict lightly, using it to explore the cost of absolute principles when human lives are placed on the scales. From a production standpoint, the film reflects the era's emphasis on practical effects and grounded action choreography. The interior of the aircraft feels tangible and claustrophobic, enhancing realism and immersion. Action sequences rely on tension and spatial awareness, rather than excessive spectacle, allowing the stakes to feel immediate and physical. The direction maintains clarity even during chaos, ensuring that the audience understands where each character stands within the unfolding crisis. The supporting cast adds depth and credibility to the narrative, portraying military officers, Secret Service agents, and political staff members, grappling with impossible choices from afar. Their perspectives emphasize that while the president fights on the front line, an entire system struggles behind the scenes to respond without triggering international disaster. These parallel storylines reinforce the theme that leadership extends beyond individual heroics, even when circumstances demand singular action. The film's release in 1997 positioned it at a crossroads in action cinema, bridging the gap between Cold War-era thrillers and a new wave of geopolitical storytelling shaped by emerging global threats. Audiences responded strongly to its blend of patriotism, suspense, and character-driven action, and it quickly became one of the most recognizable political thrillers of its time. Its tagline captured the essence of its appeal, framing the story as a test of courage, where the fate of a nation rests on one man's resolve. Trailers for the film emphasized high tension, iconic imagery, and the novelty of seeing a sitting U.S. president engage directly in combat. Rapid cuts of explosions, close-quarters fights, and emotional confrontations were paired with dramatic music to signal both spectacle and seriousness. The marketing positioned the film as more than entertainment, suggesting a cinematic exploration of leadership under siege that resonated strongly with audiences seeking decisive heroes during uncertain times. Over the years, Air Force One has maintained a strong cultural presence, frequently cited as a benchmark for political action thrillers. Its influence can be seen in later films that place national leaders in direct danger, adopting similar themes of personal responsibility and moral clarity under fire. Discussions around the film often highlight its idealized vision of presidential strength, reflecting a period when popular cinema embraced clear distinctions between good and evil, resolve and compromise. Critical and audience conversations have also revisited the film in light of changing global politics, noting how its portrayal of terrorism and international conflict reflects the anxieties of its era. While some elements are firmly rooted in 1990s sensibilities, the central question it poses remains relevant. What does true leadership demand when every option carries devastating consequences? This enduring relevance has allowed the film to persist beyond nostalgia, inviting reassessment with each new generation of viewers. The legacy of the performances, particularly Harrison Ford's, continues to define the film's reputation. His portrayal reinforced his status as an action star capable of conveying integrity and vulnerability simultaneously, Gary Oldman's antagonist remains one of his most memorable villain roles, often praised for its intensity and unpredictability. Together, their dynamic drives the film's emotional and narrative engine, transforming a high-concept scenario into a character-focused confrontation. In retrospect, Air Force One can be seen as both a product of its time and a timeless exploration of crisis leadership. It captures the fantasy of unwavering moral strength while acknowledging the human cost such strength demands. By confining its drama to a single aircraft hurtling through the sky, the film creates a pressure cooker in which ideals, fear, loyalty, and courage collide without escape. The result is a tightly constructed thriller that continues to engage audiences through its clarity of purpose and emotional stakes. Ultimately, the film endures because it delivers more than action. It presents a vision of responsibility where power is inseparable from sacrifice, and authority is proven not by position but by action. In a story where the world watches, enemies threaten, and loved ones are in danger, the president's refusal to surrender his principles becomes the defining act that shapes the outcome. Air Force One remains a compelling reminder of why stories about leadership under fire continue to resonate, long after the engines have powered down and the credits have rolled.